I have the WFLY ET16Pro transmitter. It is a feature-rich transmitter, a full-size transmitter. This is courtesy of WFLY. I want to thank them much for sending this for review. So I've got a picture up on the screen, a close-up of the transmitter. It comes with an 18650, I believe, is the type of battery, lithium-ion, 2 lithium-ion batteries, 3.7 volts each. It comes with a lanyard strap. It comes with the WFLY RF209S PWM, SBACH, PPM 9-channel receiver. Channels 1 through 7 are for PWM. Channel 8 is for PPM and SBACH. Channel 9 is for PPM, SBACH, and SBACH V2. So a very versatile receiver, and it's also it's a full-size receiver, and it has diversity antennas, and it binds up to the ET series transmitters. My go-to receiver lately has been, for quite a while now actually, has been the WFLY RF201S SBACH PPM receiver that I use with my BIM gyros. It's very tiny, very compact, very lightweight. It has diversity antennas. I have several of them. They've always been extremely reliable. I will have links to those in the show notes too. They're easy to bind up to. All you have to do is turn on your transmitter, put your transmitter in bind mode, power up the receiver. The receiver will automatically bind up to the transmitter. All right, so let's take a look at some of the features of this ET16Pro. It has a color touchscreen. It's a 16-channel, 4096 resolution, 2.4 gigahertz RF, 3.5-inch touchscreen, and I love the touchscreen. All right, so it has dual RF modules already built into it. So you have the regular WFLY RF module built into it, but then you also have Express LRS built into it. I know the Express LRS is getting to be extremely popular with a lot of people. And here's something else that really surprised me is you can change your power setting to 6 different power modes, different power settings. 10, 25, 50, 100, 250, all the way up to 500 milliwatts of power. I don't think I've ever had a transmitter that had up to 500 milliwatts of power, but you can provide all the way up to 500 milliwatts of power for the Express LRS or the normal built-in RF module, either one of them. And we'll go through the menu and I'll show you where you can set your power modes on that. It has nice, smooth, high resolution CNC metal Hall sensor gimbals. They've set it up so it's easy to adjust the travel. You can set it up for 36 degrees or you can set it up for 54 degrees. Now, I'm the type of person that I like the maximum movement, the maximum travel on the sticks, because that, for me, since I'm not soft on the controls, that gives me a maximum travel to overcome my abruptness on the controls. So that really helps me smooth things out. It has a 15-watt fast charging port, so it charges up pretty fast. I've already connected it up to my laptop computer to charge up the 2S LiPo. I put a 2S LiPo in mine, so you can use a 2S LiPo or you can use 2 18650 batteries, either one. I removed the battery tray and just used a 2S 1600 milliamp hour LiPo in mine. It fits nice in there. So yeah, so the quick charge port works when you've got the USB port plugged into the USB-C connector on the transmitter, and plug it up to your USB hub or your USB outlet or your computer, the red power light will come on, and it will stay on until the battery's fully charged, and then the light will go off when it's fully charged. It has a standard JR module slot. I do have a 4-in-1 module that I can use on this transmitter. So, all right, this one also has an HID game mode. So, if you want to use the transmitter for a flight simulator, you can do that. And so what I did was I connected the same cable that I used to charge it. You need to make sure it's a data cable, not just a charging cable. But I hooked it up to the transmitter, and then I plugged it into my laptop, and then I powered on the transmitter, and you'll get a little dialogue on the transmitter that asks you if you want to put it into game controller mode. So remember that, you know, plug everything in, and then power on your transmitter, and then answer the question that you want to use it for a simulator. And then you'll be able to do that. Trainer function. So it has a trainer function for a master, student, a teacher, student setup, trainer, master, and sub-student transmitter. So you can set that up with identical transmitters. There's really 4 main categories of menus for this transmitter that you get to using the WFLY logo up here. By clicking on that, you'll be able to get to these 4 menus, and then depending on what you're wanting to do, go into the sub-menu system for each one of those categories. All right, so 2-way transmission, 64-point frequency hopping, 3.6 millisecond response. SBACH, SBACH 2, they call it WBus, or their version, I guess, of SBACH. It supports 180 to 270 degree servos, vibration feedback. It also has a voice alerts. It has the whole sensor gimbals, 16 linear channels, 30 sets of data storage for models, color screen, touch screen. I really miss my touch screen. I really do. Aerial relay flight, voice broadcast, JR big stanchion spots, no fingerprints. I don't know about that. I thought I could see my fingerprints on there. Receiver port settings, wireless copy, which is kind of cool. So especially if you're setting it up for master-student connection, you can wirelessly copy data from one to the other, which is really, really handy. You're not having to go through setup on 2 transmitters. Switch customization, USB online upgrade. So the USB port has 3 different functions. The Type-C connector on the back of the transmitter. You can use it for your charging port. You can use it for your game simulator controller, and then you can use it for USB online upgrade. 10 sets of program mixes, so it has a bunch of predefined mixes already, so that it saves you a bunch of time on programming. It's like, you know, having your own little templates for different kinds of models and different kinds of setups, and that's a huge time saver. Reverse insertion protection, which I assume is for your voltage. You know, if you happen to connect something backwards, it's got reverse voltage protection. So that's always handy. I've smoked a couple of receivers and a couple of servos, you know, misconnecting something up. I wish those had that. All right, so what I want to do now is I've got the transmitter over here. I'm going to power it up. I'll record it with a separate camera, and then we'll switch over to that. I'll go through the menu, the main menu for the link setup, because I want to show you how to bind up to the receiver that came with it. And I've got a couple of servos hooked up to it so that we can test it and make sure that everything is working as it should. So I'll meet you over at the bench. Okay, so let's power on our transmitter. And it's telling me my throttle cut is engaged, which is good. You know, I want to know that. Alright, let's go into WFLY menu. We're going to go into link settings, and then we're going to go into link. And you can see the internal RF module is active. Telemetry is on. And mode A, which I think is my my stick mode. I'm set for 100 milliwatt of power, and multi-protocol is off. Now you can also change your power setting here. So you can go from 100
50, 25, 10, all the way down to 10, 100, back up to 100, you go 250, all the way up to 500 milliwatts. So I'm going to leave it at 100. That's what I normally fly at as far as power from the transmitter. And then right here it says link start. So let's go ahead and power up our receiver here, the WFLY RF209S. Okay, and then we're going to hold down our set button here for 3 seconds till we get a flashing light. Put it in bind mode, and then we're going to start our link. Okay, so the link is already established. I've got a solid green light on the receiver, so I can exit back out of this, back to the main menu. And if we watch the aileron and elevator servos there, you can see I'm bound up. Aileron and elevator channel are working just fine. Okay, so while we're here, you can see that it's showing. I've got to stop that voice feedback. But you can see that you can see the condition of the receiver. I've got full bars right now. It's showing that the voltage of the transmitter is 8.3 volts. And I've already set my name here. So right here, you can set your name. I just typed in GCRC. I removed what was there, but that's where you would go to do that. And then let's go and look at the main categories like we were before. So you saw everything that was in the link settings. And then you can set up your failsafe here. You know, you can set up your telemetry. You can set it showing that my receivers are receiving 4.8 volts from the BEC there, so it gives you that data. You can set up different sensors for like RSSI, and right now it says disable alarm. I'm going to activate that alarm so that I know if I'm getting a bad RSSI. Failsafe, if you want to set up your failsafe, you can see that my aileron, my elevator, and my rudder for failsafe, they're all set at 0%. So if we go into the monitor, what I always do is I go into the monitor to see what kind of outputs I've got, like aileron and elevator. You can see that when they're in the neutral position, the output is 0%. So like aileron, it goes from, I've got it set at I think at 90% dual rate right now, so it goes plus 90 and then minus 90, and then the elevator goes plus 100, minus 100. So the center is at 0, and if I take off my throttle switch cut, you can see that right now it's at minus 100, and then I put it all the way up and it changes it to plus 100. So you want, for failsafe, you want your throttle to shut off, which means you want it at minus 100, and then you want your control surfaces all to be at 0. So let's go ahead and exit the monitor, go back into failsafe. So the aileron, elevator, rudder, they're all at 0%, and the throttle is minus 100, which is exactly what we want for failsafe. And then you can set up, it's up here in the upper right hand corner. If there's multiple pages for the setup and a menu, it'll list them here. So you can see there's 3 pages. So it's going through every single channel, all 16 channels available. If you need to set up something different on any of the channels for your failsafe, then this is where you would do it. I'll go back to number 1 here, and we'll go ahead and exit out of failsafe. And then this is also where you would do your range check. So it's telling you pull the switch SH, which is your momentary switch back here. You pull SH switch to reduce the power of the transmitter. It should reduce it to 10% of available power. And right now the power is normal. It says the signal strength is 98%. So if we just pull that forward, because I'm so close to it, it's still showing that the signal strength is 98%. But you should move about, I think the standard, it depends on what article you read, but what I typically try to do is I try to walk 100 feet away from the receiver or the aircraft when I do a range check, and check my signal at 100 feet away at range check power, which should just be 10%. Okay, so we can exit range check. Okay, so your bus servo setting, let me see. And servo frequency, if you need to change your servo frequency value, this is where you would do it. I'm going to leave it at 50 Hertz. And then relay flight, there's a bunch of different options, what kind of servo you have. If you want to enable the 180 to 270 degree servo, you can do it here. Sometimes you need that. It just depends on what you're using the servo for, like, you know, maybe retracts or something. All right, so I want to conclude with this. In the next episode, we will go through the menus. We will set up not just a receiver like we've done today to bind up to it and make sure everything's working, but we'll go through, I'll show you how to set up your timer. I like having a timer set up so that when I engage my throttle stick, you can see the timer going now. And then if I bring the throttle stick all the way down, it stops the flight timer. I only want the flight timer engaged when I'm actually got throttle engaged. If I'm just gliding, I don't want my timer running. And then I have my momentary switch set up to automatically reset my flight timer. Okay, and it shows you right here in front too that you've got 4.8 volts going to the receiver. I don't have an external sensor set up for a flight battery, but it would show that here as well. I love the touch screen. It's so much easier for me to use the touch screen than it is the buttons and the navigation buttons and menu buttons. So the navigation button, it's a directional button. So if you see, you can use it to go through all the menus, side to side, up and down, and if you push it, it works as a selector. So if I want to go into the link settings again, I just push the button, and then I can go through whatever menus I want to go through. Hit my exit button here and go back a step each time, back to the beginning again. So so that's your, and if you hold this down, if you hold it down for 3 seconds, it will lock it. If you see where it's locked here, so touch key lock, long press exit button. So this prevents accidental changes, you know, to anything in the transmitter. If you lock the menu system, and if you hold it down again, you'll unlock it. If you this is your home button, it will take you back to the main menu from whatever menu you're in, or if you long press it, you'll get your channel monitor, which is really handy. I use channel monitors all the time to make sure that I'm getting the range that I want out of each channel, that the readings are correct, that I don't need to recalibrate anything in the transmitter. So always think about that. Anyway, that's a wrap on this episode. Stay tuned for the next review video on this. We'll be setting up an aircraft from scratch. Okay, so stay tuned. Links to the transmitter, links to the receivers will be in the show notes. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the air.